Hey, what's going on, everyone? I hope that y'all are doing well. I'm back with another video. So tonight we're going to be talking about the Super Nintendo console, which is a really good system. I have this right here. I also do have that Classic 2 thing, which is a machine that can play Super Nintendo games and NES games. Let me get that real quick. See, this is what it looks like. Show you the other system. Give me a few seconds. Have it in that box there. This is the thing I have here. This was like 60 bucks or 70 bucks. It wasn't a bad deal. Get it brand new, and it does play both. Problem is, I can't find that cord piece for it, so that's why I had to get that Super Nintendo. And thanks to Mike, that's his name, Mical. Michael sold me this. I got it for 200 bucks, and I got it with it was originally 15 games, but I told him, I was like, hey man, could you throw in like one more game to even it out, because a lot of the games were sports titles. And he said, yeah, I can do that for you. And I chose Road Riot, which I will talk about in a little bit. And so he did, but I bought, because he had already sent everything out, and I received it a week ago. I had to buy Thunder Spirits, and then he sent out Road Riot, and he sent me a message, and he said, I actually sent you another game out with it as well, called Wings 2, High Aces, or Aces High, something like that. He felt like that would even it out a little bit more. But to my surprise, when I got that small box, it was just a little bit bigger than my hand, and it was square. It wasn't a huge box. It just had 4 Super Nintendo games in it and a little bit of packaging in it, you know what I mean? And so he threw in a 4th game. I was very surprised. It was a boxing game, but it was still nonetheless very thoughtful of him to do that. I do also gotta say that I'm also going to be getting the Super Scope in the mail, and it does come with the Super Scope 6 video game, because I guess they sold that as a pack-in. Well, I bought the Super Scope for $15.25 off of eBay. Bargained with the seller. I got it for that price, although there was $15 shipping, so it ended up being about $30 for the damn thing, which sucks, because I was hoping to pay like 15, 20 bucks total, but that shipping and tax brought it up to about 30 bucks. But it's going to be nice, because I never played the Super Scope. I do know that there's some other Super Scope games that you can use with that gun, that you like. It's like a big giant bazooka thing that you have on like your shoulder or something. You fire at the TV. It only works with CRTVs. Good thing I have one right here. Although I have been contemplating looking for a bigger one, but the problem is I'm not gonna pay the prices that eBay wants for a 22-inch CRT TV. It's just not happening. It's too much money, and I'm not seeing any at Goodwill. And the Goodwill that we had, I looked it up recently, and they shut down. So we've only got like, we have like no Goodwills in our area. I think there's one Goodwill, but it's not like a thrift store. It's like a donation center or something. I don't know. So, I don't know. I may never get another CRT TV unless I find it for the right price. Anyways, you guys came to see the games. You guys want to hear me talk about the games, of course. So, yeah, I might as well start with the first bunch of games that I got from Michael. I do appreciate Michael. I got this, it was actually $230 total, because I had to pay for the shipping and The shipping was about $20, and then the eBay tax. So that's about what it came to in total. But it's still a really good deal with 18 games, 2 controllers, and the cords. Really good deal. There were other sellers that had better games with it, like Super Metroid, like all the good Mario games that were on Super Nintendo. The Mario All-Star, Super Mario World, Super Mario World 2, Super Mario Kart, Zelda, and Castlevania 4 and Contra 3. Some of the really good ones. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, some really fantastic games for this Super Nintendo, but the problem is they wanted more money. They had more games in the lot, but they wanted more cash. They wanted $500, $600, $400, and I'm on a budget, so $200 I could do, but 5, 6, 400 I can't really do. It's just too much money. Anyways, enough of me rambling. I got the cords over there. I'm not gonna unplug those. I'm sure you guys already know what cords look like. Here's a Super Nintendo controller. This is an official one. It did come with another official controller. That actually I think is over in that box over there. I did look in my storage area at the bottom drawer on that thing. Where I keep my PS4 games, that thing over there. Y'all probably know what I'm talking about. Well, anyways, I couldn't find it in there, but I do have 2 of these. And then I have the one that came with that Classic 2 machine. It has an NES controller and a Super Nintendo controller. It's third party, but it still will work with the Super Nintendo, this thing. It'll still work with that. And I might have a 4th controller around because I collect controllers sometimes because if one breaks, I still have another one. I don't have to worry about, oh, this sucks. I gotta wait now a week or 2 before I get paid again and to play the system because I don't have a controller or something. Just hate that, So try to be prepared. Anyways, let's go ahead. Excuse me. I got Road Riot. Okay racing game. It's like a dune buggy racing game. The problem is that it's 2 screens, and the bottom screen kind of shows the other cars and stuff, which I know they did that with Super Mario Kart on Super Nintendo, but it isn't very annoying. But really, they should be in full screen, but that was annoying about the game. But for a THQ game, it's not terrible. I did play it for a little bit, so I did have some fun with it, but it's not a perfect game by any means. It's a very cheap game. It's only around a $10 game at the very most. If you pay more than that, you're an idiot. But yeah, it's a $5 to $10 game, and it's okay. It's an alright racing game. Some of these I'm just going to go right through because I haven't played them yet. But I probably wouldn't have much to say about them anyways. John Madden Football. NHL 95. I played that one on the gameplay video I did a few days ago. A Super Nintendo fun video. Super Play Action Football. That's one of the worst football games on the Super Nintendo. It's worse than Madden, surprisingly. Tecmo Super NBA Basketball. Here's that extra bonus game. George Foreman's KO Boxing. I played this game recently, and I gotta say, game sucks. I did not enjoy this game very much at all. I thought it was a crappy boxing game. It's crap because you only get 2 characters to play as, George Foreman or the opponent, and then it's just a monotonous, mindless button mash, dodge this, like that, and It's bad. It's not a good game at all. It's terrible. Do not buy this. I got it with my lot, so I guess it's okay. Well, it's not okay. It's crap. It's a crappy game, but it came with my lot, so I had to accept it. But if you want a good boxing game, play Evander Holyfield's Real Deal Boxing on Sega Genesis. That game's much better. Has a better roster of characters. It does have some light RPG elements in it and leveling up with your stamina and things like that, weight, height, and all that crap. And just the perspective of it when you're playing the game looks a hell of a lot better than this. Same with Greatest Heavyweights. That was also a good boxing game. But it seemed like those two were the only boxing games that got it right around this time. All the other boxing games that were coming out, they suck. NBA Live 95. I also do have, separately, I have NBA Live 96. I did not get this from that seller that sold me the Super Nintendo. Bought separately. Only $3. It was off DK Oldies, so I was like, okay. Whatever, I'll take it. I played it a little bit. It's okay. The NBA Live series are all right games for basketball games. Super Bases Loaded. I'm sure that this is an okay baseball game. I'm not really into baseball games, and I haven't played it yet, but I'm sure it's okay. I know there's like there's 3 or 4 of them on the NES, and then there's this, and I think there was also a sequel to it, Super Bases Loaded 2 or something, but yeah. Okay, we got some more MLB PA Baseball. Wings 2 High Aces, or Aces High. You can probably see that right there. Played it a little bit. I'm not really a fan of it. It's a flying game. It's not really my cup of tea personally. But it is nice to have it in the collection. It is nice to add an extra game. So I do thank Mike for that extra bonus. But it really isn't my kind of game. I'm not really into flying games. Sports games and flying games were just not my thing. But flying games that are really good, Crimson Skies, Star Fox, and the Star Wars Rogue Squadron games were excellent. Those are the only flying games I really enjoy. Pretty much every other flying game I play for like 10 minutes and I get bored, or I just don't like the mechanics in the game. It drives me nuts. Mega Man X, this is one of the best games that was in the bunch out of all those games I just showed. Really like this game. It's a really good platformer game. It has that mechanic where you kind of go like this. You hit the X button, you jump up the walls if you're about to fall in a pit. That was kind of a nice mechanic, so you don't necessarily have to fall in the pit and die like in Mario. So that was nice. Game's good, but very challenging, very difficult. I did not get very far in this game. I will say that much. I did not get very far, but I like it, and nice to add that because that is one that was definitely on my radar to have for Super Nintendo because it's a really good game. One of the best games on the Super Nintendo. John Madden Football 93. Have not played that. John Madden Football 94. Here's the last couple. We have Super Double Dragon. Good game. Great beat 'em up game. A lot of fun on the Super Nintendo. Took the 8-bit counterparts of the Double Dragon games and they made a 16-bit version of this game. It's good. I do know that Double Dragon 3 was not really a good game. It was pretty bad. If you watch the Angry Video Gamer, he explains why the third game was terrible. It was a letdown from the first 2 games on the NES that were actually good. And I know there's a Double Dragon 5, which is on Super Nintendo, but it's not a very good game. It's like a crappy fighting game. It's not very good. And what perplexes me, what puzzles me, is why Double Dragon 4 did not come out around that time. I see that Double Dragon 4 has finally come out a few years ago on Nintendo Switch, but it never came out around the 90s. You'd think it'd be Double Dragon 1, 2, and 3, and then 4, and then 5. But for some reason, 4 never came out. It's weird. Alright, next we have is NHLPA Hockey 93. I think this is before they started calling it NHL 94. Excuse me, they had a much longer title at this time. Haven't played it yet, but I'm sure it's just hockey. And then I think this is the last game from the bunch. Oh no, there's actually two. I got NCAA basketball, which I did play. It's an okay basketball game from what I played, but there's no crowd in the game. You can't see any crowd whatsoever. And trying to get 3-point shots in the game is damn near impossible. But yeah, it was an okay basketball game. I played that on my channel here. And then we have Super Mario World, and this is a great Mario game. This is one of the best games on the system. Some people put this at number 1. It's the greatest Super Nintendo game of all time. For me personally, it's a great game. It's in the top 3 at least for me. But it ain't number 1 because Super Mario RPG beats it by a milestone, a long shot. And honestly, think about it now. I think Zelda Link to the Past beats it too. And so does Castlevania 4. But everything else, not so much. But it's great. It's a great platformer game. I remember some of the levels in the game. I remember the ghost house that you go through, and there's like a door. It's like a trick door. You got to find the door, get up there. I think the only way to get up there was with the cape. You can ride Yoshi in the levels. Yoshi just eats everything in this game. Like, there's not very many enemies that he can't eat. And then there are certain enemies that he can eat. He spits out the fireballs and stuff in the game. So that was interesting. You can get hundreds. If you get like hundreds of coins, you get several power-ups, several one-ups, I mean, in the game. The secret areas where you use like a key to get through a little keyhole door, and then it zooms in for like 5 seconds, goes make that music and everything. Pretty cool. Great game overall, great platformer game, one of the best on the Super Nintendo. Definitely a reason to own a Super Nintendo console if you have a Super Nintendo, that is. Super Mario World, great game. Glad that one came with my system. I do have a copy of Killer Instinct somewhere in this room. And that also did come with the system when I purchased that thing. Not sure where it is. It might be in the stack somewhere. I got 2 copies of that. And 2 copies of Super Mario World. Next game we have is Power Rangers Zeo Battle Racers. Here's the front. This plays a lot like Mario Kart, and it's actually not bad. You get to play as Tommy, Kimberly, Lila, I forget that Chinese girl's name, Jack, or Zach, and, was it Billy, I think? I think that's who it was. I forget. This show came out when I was like 2 or 3 years old. I was really young when Power Rangers came out, but going back to it now on YouTube, I see that they have the episodes up there for free to watch, so that was pretty cool. So I've been going back and reminiscing over it, watching it again. I saw the movie Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, the other day on YouTube for free. And I thought that was a pretty good movie. It was clean. It was PG, but mainly just for the action violence, but it was good. This game's pretty good. I liked it. I thought it was a good racing game. Good Mario Kart style game, but with Power Ranger characters. And there's a few bad guys in the game as well that you can race as, or they might not be playable, actually. But they're in the game, you know. And you get to shoot power-ups at the characters in the game as well. So, not a bad game. I do know there's a couple of Power Ranger games on it. I have one but on the Sega Genesis. And then there's the fighting version where it's like Power Ranger fighting game. And then there's also one that's like it's based on the movie, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. That one's like a beat 'em up game. Here's two extra games that I bought from Michael. I've got Thunder Spirits. Have yet to play it, but I've seen it. It's a shoot 'em up game. I like shoot 'em up type of games. They're really fun. I think the first one I played was Stingers and Star Force. Those were the first two that I ever played as a kid. And then also Galaga. I played Galaga as well in the arcades and stuff. And then later on Namco Museum. But this is one I got to play. But I've seen gameplay on it, and it looks like a lot of fun. And here's the other shoot 'em up game I have called D-Force, and I haven't played it yet, but it looks interesting. I do also have Super R-Type somewhere in this bunch. Clay Fighter 2 Judgment Clay! Yeah, this is a good fighting game. I like this game. It's basically a fighting game, but with clay animation characters. I will say, though, that one thing that it lacks is definitely a lot of interesting characters. I mean, in Mortal Kombat, there's tons of interesting characters to choose as, or play as. Same thing with Tekken and Street Fighter and Soul Calibur. They have interesting characters that you want to play as. And this, it just seems like the character roster, it sucks. The only characters I really like in the game is Ichabod Clay, Hoppy is pretty cool, and Bad Mr. Frosty. All the other characters are pretty forgettable in my opinion, you know. But the gameplay and the fighting mechanics are actually fair and balanced, so it ends up being a really fun game. It's a shame that Clay Fighter hasn't made a comeback in like 20 years or so. The last time we saw a Clay Fighter game was like Clay Fighter 63 and a third on the N64, and also the rare Sculptures cut on the N64, which I could never afford that game. I'd have to take out a loan from the bank and also borrow like probably an extra $100 from my brother just to get that game. Like, no way. That game's over $1,000. But this is pretty cheap, about a $15 game, not bad. Great fighting game, very underrated. I also do have the first one in here, and I know that there's a third one. There's a Championship Edition version too. Michael Andretti IndyCar Challenge. This made the top 20 best Super Nintendo games on my video that I did, the video response. This was on the list. I just couldn't think of the name at the time. But this is a pretty interesting and fun racing game. I like it. I picked it up recently off of eBay for $10. It's a good racing game. It's not bad. Definitely recommend that one. Kablooey. Actually, I never played this one, but I heard it's a puzzle game. I'm not the hugest fan of puzzle games, but I will give this game a try, you know, and see how I like it. But yeah, there were a few puzzle games on Super Nintendo. Wild Snake, Kablooey, Q*bert 3. That was like a puzzle platformer. Tetris 2, and there was also Tetris and Dr. Mario, and Zoop, and a few others. Oh, speaking of which, here's the other game. I got Zoop. I have this on Sega Genesis, and I own it on Super Nintendo. And back in the day, I had this for the original Game Boy. It's a decent puzzle game. It's one of those games where you gotta match up the little blocks and stuff, and then once you match them up properly with the colors and stuff using paint, they disappear. I remember the music in this game. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, not a bad puzzle game. Definitely underrated. It came out towards the end of the life cycle of the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. I think this game came out in 1996 or 1997, something like that. It came out late, but it wasn't bad. Not a bad puzzle game. Super Pinball Behind the Mask. A decent pinball game. I had some fun playing this. This is not a game you're going to play for hours upon hours, but you will get an hour or two out of it and then eventually go back to it because it doesn't suck. It's a decent pinball game overall. I enjoyed it. Super Black Bass. This one's called Jim Houston's Bass Tournament USA. I have nothing to say about that. I've not played it. Frank Thomas Big Hurt Baseball. It's the first Clay Fighter. That was good. This was a good game. I like this. Good fighting game. And I like that Ichabod Clay is a playable character in this one. The second game, the only thing that they screwed up on was the first game had different characters than the second game. You figure if it's supposed to be excuse me, if it's supposed to be a sequel game, you put not only the newer characters in there with some of the older characters, but you would just put all the old characters from this game into the second game as well. But they didn't do that. I don't understand it. That was really stupid on their behalf. Because when the Mortal Kombat came out, the first one, you had 7 playable characters. When the second game came along, they added more characters. And the third game came along, more characters. Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate had like 20-something characters in it. It was crazy. So they kept adding more characters into the game. But Clay Fighter did not do that. And that was a mistake. Other than that, the game's still pretty good. It's a good fighting game. Cybernator. It's a robot shooter type of game. Side-scrolling shooter. Not bad. I remember when I first got this game had tons of stickers on it. Tons. I cleaned it up as best as I could. It's a Konami game. So, of course, it's going to kick ass. You know what I mean? Most Konami games do. But yeah, it's nice to have that. I never played it before and then finally played it. Scooby-Doo Mystery. Platformer game. Not too bad. It's very cheap. It's about $10, $12 at the most. $13 maybe. But not bad. Picked up Top Gear recently. It's a pretty good racing game. I liked it. I liked that it was in full screen, not just half the freaking screen. You know, pretty good game. I like it. Good racing game. Very fun. There was 2 other Top Gear games on the Super Nintendo as well. Top Gear 2 and Top Gear 3000. The only one that's not affordable is Top Gear 3000. That one's a couple $100. But Top Gear 2 is still pretty affordable. Star Wars Return of the Jedi. Pretty good Star Wars game based off the 6th movie. But it is hard as hell. Very hard game. And you will get your ass kicked playing this game. You just gotta have a lot of energy drinks, time, and patience to get through this game because it will kick your ass. It really will. But it's not a bad game. It's actually pretty good. SimCity. The Nerd actually reviewed this, I think 7 months ago he reviewed this game. And he was, I don't know if he hated it really, but I don't think he was a big fan of it either. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of this game either. I'm not really into RTS or simulation type of games. They're really slow paced and boring and stuff. Just not my cup of tea personally. But I guess it's good if you like that kind of game. I don't think it sucks or anything. Super Battle Tank 2. This was the sequel to Super Battle Tank War in the Gulf. I got this game for $5 at Pastime Legends years ago. I wasn't a big fan of it, to be honest with you. I thought it kind of sucks. It's like a tank game where you shoot things, but it's so easy to run out of fuel in the game. And once you run out of fuel and stuff, you get mission failure, and then the general is like the biggest like douchebag, you know, like he's mad, and you see him like moving his mouth, and you see the bubble letters with his, you know, talking, you know, all this crap about, yeah, you know, oh, you failed the mission and this and that. It's like, oh, thank you very much. So yeah, no, I didn't really like this game. It wasn't that good. The Lion King. This was a pretty good licensed game. I liked it. It was a good platformer game. I got this for cheap. I got it for $9. Can you believe that? $9. The game actually right now currently is selling for about $20. You might be able to get it for 15. It's also available on the Sega Genesis as well. It's a pretty good platformer game based on a licensed property, a movie. I thought that this was a pretty good game. I mean, Disney really knew how to make good games around this time period. You know, really good. I mean, yeah, they later on went to make Kingdom Hearts, which is actually a really good game as well, and also Split Second. I thought was a good game as well. But a lot of other stuff they're putting out is just whatever. You know what I mean? High School Musical. That game's crap in my opinion. Disney Sing It and all those other crappy games that they were putting out. But you know, back then they actually cared about quality, and this was a quality game for a licensed game. Alright. Next up we have Super Mario Kart. It's a very good game. I like this game a lot. It's a lot of fun. Definitely worth checking out if you have a Super Nintendo. This is actually a must buy. A must-own for your Super Nintendo. Definitely want to get this one. If you buy a Super Nintendo in 2025, definitely worth your time and your money. But be prepared to pay about 20 to 30 bucks for a copy, maybe 35 bucks, depending on the condition. But it's good. I like it. Great kart racing game. This next one I have is Iggy's Quest for the Olympic Rings. Excuse me. Yeah, I never played this one actually. I've had this in my collection for a while and never played it, so I can't really say anything about it. Unfortunately. It might be a platformer game. Super Mario World. I have a secondary copy of that. Second copy. Roadrunners Death Valley Rally. Not a bad Looney Tunes game. Definitely, the speed though, it kind of is all over the place though. It's like 1 minute you're going really fast and then you crash into a wall, you know. Or 1 minute you're going so fast and then you fall off a cliff and die. You know, like sometimes you gotta speed real fast and other times you gotta kind of slow down, you know what I mean? Otherwise you will die, you know. You play as Wile E. Coyote in the game and you're chasing around trying to catch the Roadrunner, setting up traps and stuff. You also got to watch out for other enemies that get in the way as well. I thought it was a pretty good game. Pretty cheap one too. I got it for $7. Not bad for $7. This one's a little, it's got a little bit of a smell to it too. Might have to clean it up a bit. The label's really damaged. It's faded. But I got it for a good price for like 8 other games. SimCity 2000. Again, not a fan of simulation games. Last Action Hero. Terrible game. Good movie, but terrible game. Do not buy this game. It's a piece of shit. Terrible beat 'em up game. F-Zero. This was a really good game. I like this. A good futuristic game. Had memorable music in the game. The game was fun. Easy to play. Easy to get the hang of. It'll take you a little bit of time to get the hang of it, but eventually you'll get it. You like the Mode 7 graphics in the game, or I like the Mode 7 graphics in the game. It looked really good. Of course, now they don't look as good as they used to, but back then they looked gorgeous for the time, you know. It's a really good racing game. I definitely recommend that. Super R-Type, very good game. Good shoot 'em up game, definitely recommend that. It's a side-scrolling shooter, very fun game. Just shoot everything in sight, and then at the end you fight a boss. Very good game. A lot of fun. Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct's a really good fighting game with some memorable characters in this game, such as Orchid and Fulgore and the Saber-Tooth Wolf. Thunder? I think that's another character in the game, or something like that. Um, Pretty good fighting game. I like it. I think most people would agree with me that this was a good fighting game besides Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, and Clay Fighter. You know, great game. I used to whoop my friends' behinds in this game like all the damn time. Like I literally would. The only one that would get me a lot of times was Michael. Like my old friend Michael would always whoop my ass in this game, but pretty much everybody else I was undefeated against. That game's one you can play for hours too. Paperboy 2, basically a paperboy delivering papers to people's houses and stuff in this game. There's crazy dogs that chase you in the game that you gotta watch out for, and there's other things, other hazards that get in your way. One thing I didn't understand is why I can't ride on the sidewalk. That was kind of whack. I didn't understand it because in the first game you didn't really mind. You could ride on the sidewalk if you wanted to. And you can throw papers into people's windows, even though it's not recommended. But I didn't think it was a bad game. It was alright. I picked this up at Pastime Legends years ago for $16. Ultraman, still need to get around to play this game, but I've heard it is terrible. I heard it's a terrible game and it's not good at all. I heard it really sucks and it was a shitty game, pretty much. Donkey Kong Country, great music in the game that's very memorable to this very day. A lot of people love this game and it's one of the best games for the Super Nintendo, besides Donkey Kong Country 2 and Donkey Kong Country 3, which were also great on the Super Nintendo. They were a little bit better than the first game, obviously, especially the third game with those graphics. It looked damn good. They really pushed the boundaries of the Super Nintendo with Donkey Kong Country 3. But great game, great platformer game. You do get to play as Diddy Kong in this game as well. You collect bananas, get 100 bananas, I think, and you get an extra life. But you can only take 2 hits, and then you're dead. So watch that, you know. It's very challenging, but it's rewarding, it's satisfying. It's a great platformer game overall. Loved it. Tom and Jerry. Surprisingly, there's one on Sega Genesis. Frantic Annex is what it's called. This one's just called Tom and Jerry. They're entirely different games, but they're both platformer type of games. It's a pretty good game. I like it. The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. One of the best games on the system. Definitely a great action RPG adventure type of game. Whatever you want to call it. I call it an adventure, or no, I don't call it an adventure game. I call it an action RPG because of the level up system and things in the game that you can get, like potions and upgrading your sword and your shield and all that other shit. It's a great game. I definitely recommend it. Definitely hours of fun. This is one that you'll be hooked on once you start playing it. Be like drinking some Mountain Dew or some Pepsi or Sprite and eat some chips and stuff, and you'll just play this game for hours. You won't want to turn off that fucking system. You'll want to keep it on so that way you can keep playing because it's that good of a game. And let me go ahead and pick a few of these up at a time. We have Monopoly, good game. I like it. I also own this on the Sega Genesis. I know there's been like different variations of Monopoly on several different consoles. This one's really good. It's a really fun game. You know what you do in Monopoly? You go around the board. You collect $200 from, pass and go. Try not to land on the opponent's properties because then you have to pay taxes and fees. And you have to pay even more taxes and fees if that person starts putting hotels on the property as well. And you try to get as many properties as you can so that way when the person lands on your property, you can get the most money. It's a great game. I like it. Very fun. Definitely underrated one that nobody really puts on their top 20 or top 10 or top 30 NES, Super Nintendo games list. Flashback: The Quest for Identity. This was also available on the Panasonic 3DO, the Sega Genesis, and it might have been on the computer as well, the PC back in the day. But it's a really good game. I like it. It was the start of like that 3D perspective, but not quite. But I guess at the time everybody thought this was a 3D type of game. It's really good. There was a sequel to it. I don't know if Out of This World rather has anything to do with this game, but I liked it. It was a pretty good game. It's like an adventure game with some cutscenes, some like CGI type of cutscenes. Give me a second, my throat's dry. Batman Returns. Good license game, but a hard game. Very hard. Very challenging. And the only thing that I really hate about this game is if you die in the first part of the game, right? It does not have a checkpoint. So you end up having to go back to the very beginning of the level if you lose all your lives. That was not fair. If you get to the next level of the game, it starts you off at the next level. But if you lose all your lives, you might have to start back from the beginning of the game. I never ended up beating this game because of that reason. I might have to use a cheat code or a Game Genie or something to progress in this game because I'd like to beat this game, but it's so hard. I can't beat it. But I do like this game. It's a good game. This next game I've never played. I have Big Sky Trooper. I've never played this game. I picked it up for $10 off of DK Oldies. Excuse me. And I figured, what the hell? I might as well get it because I never played it before and it wasn't a sports game. But maybe tomorrow I will pop it in and play it. And we'll see how it is. I've never played it, but from the look of it, it looks like it's a platform type of game with that character on the front, that robot looking character. So it might play like Tin Head on Sega Genesis or something. Alright, we're almost done here, but you know, there is also going to be an edit to this video as well. Mario Paint. Good game. Don't have the mouse and the pad with the thing. I don't have that. I could get it off eBay, but it's about 40 to 50 bucks for that. Caesar's Palace. When it comes to casino stuff, the only thing I'm really good at is blackjack. I'm not really good at any other card games besides blackjack and war. That's basically all I know. I'm not very good at that. I don't know a lot about casino playing and poker and all that other stuff, craps and all that, and Russian roulette or roulette. I wish I did. If I knew, I'd probably go to this casino myself and see if I could try to win $5,000 or something, $10,000. But yeah, that's all I can really say. It was also available on Sega Genesis as well. Mortal Kombat. Good game. This is the censored version because the Sega Genesis version had blood code. This version doesn't have that. It's just sweat and stuff. But still, it's not a bad game. It's very fun. Good fighting game on the Super Nintendo. It proved that fighting games around this time could actually work. Wheel of Fortune Deluxe Edition. Oh yes, Illusion of Gaia. I think I got this off of eBay because DK always wanted too much money for it. Got it for around $20. Worth that price. It's a great RPG game. I like it a lot. It's a good game. Very fun. Plays a little bit like Zelda, but with a different character, you know. And the level design is a lot different. But I like it. It was definitely one I wanted to get, and I'm glad I have it in my collection. WWF Super WrestleMania. If you see that logo on there, you know that that's LJN. So you'd think that this game would suck, but this one's actually alright. It's an alright fighting game, wrestling game. I didn't mind this game. I had some fun playing it. I liked it. However, there was one thing I noticed on the screen, the title screen. I didn't really like. Well, not title screen, but when you choose a character, sometimes it tends to choose the same character that you already fought in a match and won and beat. It tends to choose the same character again. That sucks. So it's best to have two controllers so that way the computer doesn't choose the same character again. It had a decent roster, about 10 to 12 different wrestlers that you could fight as, so that's good. Because the George Foreman boxing game is pathetic with the roster and that. But yeah, not a bad game. It was alright for a wrestling game. They made 3 or 4 wrestling games on Super Nintendo, and they also put them on the Sega Genesis as well. I have some of the other ones on Sega Genesis. Tiny Toons Buster Bust Loose, good platformer game. There is also one on the Sega Genesis, and there was 2 or 3 on the NES. They're all really good games. They did make one for the PlayStation 1 as well, and that one was not very good. You're better off playing the older Tiny Toons games on NES, Super Nintendo, and Sega Genesis. They are golden. They're really fun. Even the ones on Game Boy, fun. Just a shame that they haven't made a Tiny Toons game in so long, but it was good. It was basically the the kid versions of like Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and Lola Bunny, and Taz, and that Hamlet character, which was Porky Pig's like nephew or something. It's a pretty good game. Mickey Mania, I have not played it yet, but I have seen gameplay on it. It's a platform game. It's also available on the Sega CD, and it's also on Sega Genesis as well. It might have been on PC as well, but I haven't played it yet. So, but I look forward to playing that game eventually. There was a couple of Mickey Mouse games on the Super Nintendo. And the last game I have here is Timon and Pumbaa Jungle Games, right here. I remember this show when I was really little, and I actually really liked that show. It was a spin-off of The Lion King and The Lion King 2 movie, and then they made a TV show off of it. And it was on for a couple of years in the 90s, and this is what this is. So, it was an okay licensed game. It's not a terrible licensed game. It does have some mini games and things like that in the game. But not a bad game overall. Stay tuned because this video is not done. We also have some more Super Nintendo games that I'm going to show in the next part of this video. I have about 30 or 35 more games to show you guys in my collection. And I also am getting a Super Scope coming in the mail very soon. So we'll have that with that game. I am planning on buying another Super Scope game and also Super Mario RPG, which you will see in the next part of this video, along with the other 30 or so games that I will show in the video, and also the Super Game Boy. I'm going to buy that thing as well. So stay tuned for that. That part is coming very soon. In the meantime, thank you for watching. What is going on, everyone? I hope that y'all are doing well today. I'm Larry the Batman fan. I'm back with another video. This is another part to the edit of the Super Nintendo collection. The video was not completed. It was only halfway done. I ended up picking up off a seller 23 more games from that seller. And around that same time, which was about a month ago, I picked up 7 or 8 more titles to add to that. Sadly though, there were some titles in there in that 23 lot of Super Nintendo games that I already had. And there were a few that were cosmetically flawed. I also, after I got paid the next time, 2 weeks later, I went ahead and I bought a few more titles. I bought 4 more games. So that also added to the amount that I have now. So we're looking at about 40 more titles that I have to show you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys grabbed your popcorn and your soda pop, or your water, or your vitamin water, or whatever it is that you like to drink. Excuse me, maybe a little beer or rum. or maybe some Monster or Red Bull, please take a seat, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Or enjoyed, rather. Not enjoyed. It's past tense, sorry. Oh, and occasionally you might hear me blow my nose a little bit, because I'm still kind of sick. Matter of fact, oh, okay, I got it right here. Just making sure I got some. In fact, I have to blow my nose right now, so I'm sorry. I apologize. This cold got me fucked up. I mean, my brother came home, got my mom sick, and then he passed it on to me, or mom passed it on to me, and it's been several days. Give me a second. So just bear with me. It's a lot better than it used to be, though. Alright. Looking at all these games here. We got a bunch to go through. Let's go ahead and get started. I got the Jungle Book. I see it's got that little sticker thing on the back there. I tried to take off the other sticker and look what happened. It ripped the back. But from what I played, it plays just like the movie, The Jungle Book. It wasn't a bad game. It wasn't a bad platformer game. Disney back in the day, they made a lot of great games as far as their old school like movies turned into video games. Like Aladdin was really good. The Lion King was really good. I know there's also The Little Mermaid, Pocahontas, and Pinocchio that were also turned into games. I never played those. And Beauty and the Beast was also a game too. In fact, I think they made 2 or 3 games around this time of Beauty and the Beast. But they made a lot of games back then, and most of them were pretty good. This one's good, although the one thing that sucks is I got to the second level, right? I could not beat it. I lost all my lives. I died. I had to start from the very beginning of the game. I hated that. Okay, that's not fair. So then when I tried to enter a cheat code that I found on Google, up, down, left, right, select, or no, it was ABA, something like that. Select, start. It didn't work. So I think that's like the Contra code or something, but it said it for the Jungle Book. It was slightly different than the Contra code. So I think I need a Game Genie for this game, because this game was hard, really hard to get through. But I didn't think it sucked. I thought it was actually a pretty good game overall. The game plays well. It's definitely a challenging game. You play as the young boy. It's like an 8-year-old boy, and you go through the levels and you jump on enemies, kill things with apples and whatnot, throw apples at snakes and little monkeys and things like that, and you climb on vines and try to get from platform to platform, going up and then towards the right, things like that. It wasn't bad. Next up we have is Clue. Clue was a pretty good game. The board game I really like, Parker Brothers made this game, the Super Nintendo game. In fact, it's also on Sega Genesis as well. Did the same thing that they did with Super Battleship and Monopoly, but they put it on the Super Nintendo. I really liked the Monopoly and the Super Battleship. Those were easy to get into, and I didn't have to write shit down on paper. Well, with this fucking game, I have to write shit down on paper, right? So that just ruined the game for me, because it's like you gotta remember the areas that you were in with, what weapons were they? Was it the lead pipe? Was it the rope? Was it the gun? Was it the knife or the dagger? Like, what weapon was it or was it the candlestick? The weapons that were in Clue. And you got to remember that. And you also got to remember what faces you saw in that particular room. You know what I mean? To eventually you can solve the mystery by who did it. Who was the person? Where was the place? And time? And what weapon was it? Those 3 things. To open up the case file thing. Well, in this game, if you don't write things down, you're going to end up going back in circles into the same areas all over again. So with this game, you have to really write it down on a piece of paper or a composition notebook, and it changes up the game every time you play it. So this I didn't like as much as Monopoly or Super Battleship because I have to write things down all the time. But I could see playing it. It isn't a bad game, but like I didn't like that. Like the actual board game is much better because I don't have to write anything down because I can remember this stuff when I visually see it. But when I'm playing it, it's a lot harder to do. All right, next up we got Tom and Jerry. Don't know if I showed this already or not, so I apologize if I showed it already. It's different than the Sega Genesis version, the Frantic Annex game. And the NES version is also different than this game. It's its own game. That's why I picked it up because it was different than the Sega Genesis version. It's a decent platformer game on the Sega Genesis where you play as Tom and Jerry, go around chasing each other, beating each other up, and beating up other characters in the game. Decent game, didn't mind it, not a bad game. Next up we have is Fatal Fury. Um, it's a good fighting game. I do like it. But I kept getting my ass handed to me by the computer. I mean, I don't know what it was. I did eventually beat the first guy I fought, and then got to the second guy and lost several times. I don't know why. The characters are just hard to beat. This is a very hard fighting game. Very tough. I don't think the fighting mechanics suck in the game. I think they're okay. They're not bad. And there is some interesting characters in this game. I forget if Gully or something is in this game. I don't think he is. There's that dude with the hat. He's pretty cool to play as. Although I will say that was lacking characters that you can play as because you only play as 3 characters in this game. You know what I mean? So maybe the sequel, Fatal Fury 2, I had a chance to get that game. I didn't get it. But that one might have more characters that you can play as. But the Fatal Fury series is known for its fun gameplay, its fighting gameplay, and it's not a bad fighting game at all. So I do recommend it, and it's only around a $15 game, so you have no excuses to not pick it up. Next up, we have NBA Live 97. I did play this a little bit. It's a good basketball game. It does hurt, though, that I'm not a fan of basketball type of games. They're not really my cup of tea, besides NBA Jam, NBA Showtime. But NBA Showtime was mainly because it plays very similar to NBA Jam, and I grew up playing it pretty much. And NBA Jam and NBA Jam Tournament Edition were just really fun and easy to play, And I like the boom shakalaka, he's on fire, getting his boots on fire, and the ball getting on fire, and things like that. Just added to the gameplay. But this is I would say a simulation baseball or basketball game rather, not baseball. Um, but it does have a good view of the court, and there is a good options in the menus and stuff. A lot of different things you can do. It's nice that you can turn the rules off so you can be an asshole to the opponent and actually knock him on his ass without getting penalized for that. That was pretty cool. But yeah, not a huge fan of basketball games, but this one's alright. It's not bad. The NBA Live series on Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, after 95, were really good. 96, 97, 98 were actually pretty good. Power Rangers Zeo. You probably can't see the Zeo part, but it is Power Rangers Zeo. It's a racing game in the same vein as Mario Kart, and it's actually a really fun game. You get to play as Billy, Tommy, Jill, I think is her name. That Chinese girl, I forgot her name. And that other guy. It's been so long since I watched Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but there were 5 or 6 characters. Billy, Tommy, Jill, I think. I forget. I'm sorry. But I know that there was like 5 or 6 different characters, and you can play as any of them in the game, and it's a racing game played as a Very similar to Mario Kart. You get power ups and whatnot in the game, and you just go around the tracks several laps, things like that. And you can throw power stuff at your enemies or the people that you're facing to get first place. It's not a bad game. There were 4 Power Ranger games on Super Nintendo, surprisingly. And yeah, I think that a lot of them are pretty good. This one's pretty good. Not bad. Thunder Spirits, I think I showed this one before. Madden NFL 96. Played it for about 10 minutes. I could not stand it. I'm really don't have the patience for football games. I have more patience for basketball games and hockey games than I do for football and baseball games. Because football games, I can never pass the ball. You know what I mean? I just cannot do it. I always get sacked or always end up in safety. I suck at these type of games. And plus, it's not my kind of game anyways. But I have a couple of them on Super Nintendo. I have this. I have John Madden Football. I have John Madden Football 93. And I have the 94 version. Don't have 95. And don't have 97 or 98. But I really don't care to get those games because they're not my cup of tea. Just have them because they're a part of a lot. Tetris and Dr. Mario. Couldn't get the hang of Tetris. I kept losing in it. But I did give it my all, try to break the blocks and shit. But I really couldn't get that down. I don't know what to do with Tetris. I've tried. But with Dr. Mario, I actually knew what to do. You have to get 4 of a kind so that the jelly beans break. And eventually get all of them off the screen. Excuse me. It was pretty good. Not a bad puzzle game. I do have a lot of nostalgia for Tetris and Dr. Mario. This was kind of a retread, though, a rehash of the NES versions, but with updated graphics. Other than that, I think it was just a port of the NES versions. But not bad for a puzzle game. NHL 98. Looks like it's in great condition, but the back is actually broken off. So it's cosmetically flawed, even though the label's good. Played a little bit of it. It was a very playable NHL game. I'll say that. I could get into it and play it a bit. Screw around with the controls and whatnot and shoot that puck into the guy's goal. It was alright. If you're into sports games, this is for you. Not really for me, but it was okay. I got it because it was part of a lot. Same with the other sports games that you'll see here. It was part of a lot. Here's one of the last games I picked up. Batman Forever. Very bad game. Not good. If you watch the Angry Video Game Nerd, you will know why this game is terrible. Because there are certain parts where you get to a dead end in the game and you don't know where to go. So you end up going either back to where you came to try and figure out, is there another possible way that you go? Just to find out that you wasted your time going in the wrong direction when you were supposed to be over at the same spot before. And then when you finally do go back to that spot, I think you still have to fight a whole beret of enemies again, which is bull crap. And there's a small tiny arrow sticking out that you can barely see. And that is actually supposed to be where you put your grappling hook to go all the way up to the second floor. But because the arrow is in the way of the floor grounds, the other stuff that's in the way, you can barely see it. And that happens constantly in this game, and you have to be in a very specific area just to point the grappling hook up and then go up. You know what I mean? And if you let go at any point on the controller when you press on the button, he just jumps up in the air. And he always ends up falling back down to the bottom floor, so you have to do it again. So that was annoying. Very annoying. I hated this game. It was horrible. For a Batman game, this sucked. This was bad. This is one of the worst Super Nintendo games. But I picked it up because I'm a fan of Batman. You know, I love Batman, so I had to get it. I got it for $10. I mean, $10. I think that's a little bit high for this game. I think maybe 7 would have probably been better, but I did it. I pulled the trigger and paid $10 for it. All right, here we go. There's another one I picked up recently. Gradius 3, or Gradius 3, however you pronounce it. It's a good shoot 'em up game. I like it. You're going this way, so I think that's horizontally. I think that's the correct word. It's one of them, horizontally or vertically. I get them mixed up. But it was good. It's a good shoot 'em up game. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. You know, there's a few shoot 'em up games on Super Nintendo. I also have Thunder Spirits, D-Force, and I own Super R-Type. I know that there's a few others, like Phalanx, or Phalanx, however you pronounce that game, and UN Squadron's another one. I don't own those, but yeah, not bad. Vortex. This was kind of like a okay robot type of game, but the graphics were terrible and the gameplay could have been a little bit better. I could say that much. But overall, I thought it was an okay game for a robot game, but there's certainly better ones on Super Nintendo for sure. But it was all right. If you're looking for a cheap game, it's about 10 to $15. Then this is worth it. I paid about I think 12. There was like no, not 5. It was like $7 shipping I think, and about $5 or $6 for the cart. I think that it was around $15. We'll just say that. That was about what I paid for this game with the shipping involved. But without shipping involved, it's like $10. It's not a lot of money, but it's a pretty good. It's a pretty good game. Sorry, it's an okay. Excuse me. It's an okay game, I should say. Sorry, almost slipped up on my words there. All right. Oh yeah, I forgot. I gotta show that thing. I almost forgot. Yes, I should have started with this first, so I'm sorry. You're going to see this in random order. I got the Super Scope right here, so I can play the Super Scope games. Because I never owned this beast before, so now I own it. Yeah, so this game, or this accessory you use, I had to put 6 batteries in this beast. Got the triggers here. This little switch here, there it is. You can see it. I don't, it's pretty self-explanatory. But I got this, and I know there's a bunch of games that were made for this thing. It came with the Super Scope 6 game, but I knew that I wasn't just going to get that thing just for one game. So I had to choose a game. Besides that, I bought another game, and I chose Yoshi's Safari because that's like the best one. You know, I know there's also Tin Star, Metal Combat, Battle Clash, and a few others, but I only had enough money for one more of those type of games for this. And so I got it. I got Yoshi's Safari recently. I got it off of DK Oldies. And I haven't played it yet, but I'm looking forward to playing it because I've seen gameplay on it. It looks pretty fun. It's like a shooter game with Yoshi and Mario. So that'd be pretty cool to check out. See how it is. Kirby's Avalanche. I played some of this. I got all the way to the boss part of the game, and I could not beat him. It was really hard. But from what I played of this game, it wasn't bad. It wasn't a traditional Kirby game. It was more of a puzzle game with Kirby. Think of it as like a Tetris type of game. It's like a clone of it. or Dr. Mario or Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine on Sega Genesis. It plays very similar like that, but it has a storyline in it, and you play as Kirby and stuff. So yeah, not a bad game. They never put this game on the Wii. They made a Kirby game that had all the old Kirby games on a Wii disc. This one they missed for some reason. So I think this is the only way to play it, or maybe you could download it from the Switch or something. I'm not sure. But it wasn't a bad game. I didn't mind this game. I thought it was actually pretty good, and it's worth your time. And it's not expensive. It's only around a $15 game, so worth the money. Jeopardy Deluxe Edition. Haven't played it, but I don't really care to play it. I'd rather watch the TV show. Jurassic Park. Ocean, LJN, they were some of the worst game companies back then because they made a lot of shit. They made a lot of garbage games that suck. But this one is actually pretty good. Very surprised by this one. They made Jurassic Park on pretty much everything. The 3DO, that version sucks. The Sega CD, that version also sucks because it's like a point and click type game. There's a Jurassic Park game or two on the PlayStation 4, and there's a rare one on the PS2 and Xbox. That one's really rare. That one's expensive. That one at one point was like a $200 game. I don't think it's as much anymore, but still, that one's really expensive. And then there was a couple on the Sega Genesis. I own one of them on the Sega Genesis. It's just called Jurassic Park. So in this version, you cannot play as a dinosaur. You can only play as Grant. Go around and you kill things with your little laser gun or whatever that is. And you collect stuff. You collect items and things like that. And you progress in the game. It's got a top-down perspective, and it's kind of like a platform type game at times. Action platform, I should say. Platformer. It's an action platformer, basically. Sorry, I was trying to get the words together, and I fucked that up. But yeah, that's what it was. But yeah, it wasn't a bad game overall. But one thing that really sucks is there's no save feature whatsoever in this game. So you have to leave this game on. So if I left this game on, right, overnight, and then the next day I gotta go to work, because I work the afternoon to evening shifts. I don't work the morning shifts, so I would have a little bit of time to play it. I'd have to leave this game on, because if I turned it off, going all the way back, and I do mean all the way back to the beginning of the game. I don't like that. I hate backtracking in games. I like to get through the game without any of that shit, because it's so annoying. You know what I mean? It's so aggravating to get so far in a game, then shut it off and have to start all the way over again because there's no save feature. This game needed a save feature. Otherwise, the only way to beat this game is with a Game Genie. You know what I mean? Because who wants to do that? Who wants to start from the very beginning of the game? I sure as hell don't. So, other than that, this was a decent game. That was the one major problem with the game. But other than that, not bad. Next up, we have Ken Griffey Jr. presents Major League Baseball. Never played it. I don't really care to either. Rival Turf. Still haven't played this one, but I'm looking forward to playing it. It's a beat-em-up style game, side-scrolling beat-em-up game. It looked pretty good, so I picked it up. Picked it up for about $12, $13. It's really cheap. It's not a bad pickup. It's really cheap, and it's actually a decent game from what I've seen, from the gameplay that I've seen. All right. All right. Next up, we have Nigel Mansell's World Championship. This is actually a pretty fun racing game. I like the speed in it. I like how it plays. I like the turning. When you turn the car, it turns right or it turns left. and the speed is great. Really fun game. I liked it overall. It's a pretty good racing game. Kind of reminds me of Super Monaco GP on Sega Genesis. There were two of those on Sega Genesis. Kind of reminds me of that, but it's actually its own thing for Super Nintendo, and it actually played pretty well. I liked it. Pretty good game. Not bad. Not a bad racing game. Here's the game that came with the Super Scope. Super Scope 6. It's an okay game. Desert Strike, or in the Gulf, I think is what it's called. Oh, sorry, Return to the Gulf. I talked about this in my Sega Genesis Top 25 video. It was in the honorable mentions that I talked about it. There were 3 games that they had around the time for Sega Genesis. People mainly known it for Sega Genesis, being a Sega Genesis game, but I guess they ported this, and the other 2 I think were also ported to Super Nintendo, if I'm not mistaken. But it was a pretty good game overall. It was a hidden gem, honestly. It was like a top-down perspective where you're in a helicopter and you do mission-based objectives. You pick up innocent civilians and you kill certain people and bomb buildings and things like that. It was actually a pretty fun game overall, and I thought it was a good game. And I definitely recommend you guys checking it out if you have a Super Nintendo or a Sega Genesis. If you don't have either and you have a PSP, you can pick up the EA Replay Collection. It actually has this and Jungle Strike on it. I don't think they put Urban Strike on there, but you do get this and Jungle Strike on it. If you don't have a Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis, that is another alternative to play some classic games on a PSP handheld. It's pretty good. Super Off-Road Baja, another good racing game, not bad. ESPN Baseball Tonight. NFL Quarterback Club 96. Speed right through these sports games. I have nothing to say about them. Top Gear. This was actually a pretty fun racing game on Super Nintendo. They also did make Top Gear 2 and Top Gear 3000. Top Gear 1 and Top Gear 2 are relatively cheap for the Super Nintendo, but if you want 3000, be prepared to pay up to $100 for a copy. It's around a $70 to $100 game. It's not a cheap game at all if you want that one, but if you're a collector and you want to get all the Top Gear games on Super Nintendo, then you got to get all 3, you know. Honestly, I don't think the Sega Genesis had the first Top Gear game on it. From what I know, they only had the second game on the Sega Genesis. The third game, Top Gear 3000, might have been on Sega Genesis, but the first one, exclusive on Super Nintendo. And it's actually a very good arcade-style racing game. I do enjoy this game. I thought it was pretty good. I like the levels. I like the layout, the tracks. Of course, it's outdated as heck right now. You know, the graphics aren't as good as they used to be. But that doesn't necessarily make or break the game. It's actually a pretty fun game overall, and I definitely recommend you guys checking it out if you have a Super Nintendo. It's a really good one. I think this is a duplicate because I have like 2 copies of it. I have F-Zero. Talked about it before. It's a great game. WWF Royal Rumble. You see that logo right there on the top? That's LJN. That usually means that it's a bad game. But this one and Raw and Super WrestleMania and Maximum Carnage, you know, Spider-Man Maximum Carnage, or Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage, and Alien 3 was surprisingly a good game as well. There were a few good LJN games. This one was actually pretty good. It's a decent wrestling game. The only thing that they screwed up on in this game, from the Sega Genesis version to this, there is no Hulk Hogan in this one. The Sega Genesis version had Hulk Hogan. This version does not have Hulk Hogan in the game. I don't understand why. And all the other characters that needed to be in here except for Hulk Hogan. That made no sense. Because Hulk Hogan was around in the 90s, like 93, 94, 95. He was around this time. Or 92, whenever the damn game came out. You know? So that made no sense. But other than that, the game was still pretty good. Good sports fighting game. Pack Attack, good puzzle game, very fun. It's also available on Game Boy. When you buy Pac-Man, the cartridge on Game Boy, it also included this game. But yeah, not bad. Good game on Super Nintendo. I think it was on Sega Genesis as well. Super Soccer. Super sucks. Wow, that game was awful. It looked bad and it played bad. It was an awful soccer game. Next up, we have an uncommon game. It's already in. I paid about $40 for this title. Yeah, I don't think it's a common game. But you look at the design on the cartridge. I don't know if you can see that, but that is really cool. That is really creative artwork there. So this is a side-scrolling game where you play as a robot. It's like a mech robot. It's a side-scroller game. And you kill everything that gets in your path. And then at the end of the level, you fight a giant boss. The only problem with the game is that it's extremely difficult and hard. And, like, I literally died so many times to the point where I eventually just gave up. I turned off the system and was like, fuck this. I'm done. You know, because it's that damn difficult and frustrating. I had times where I just had to skip over the enemies because I didn't want to fight them and lose my health. And your health doesn't regenerate unless you die. You know what I mean? And have to lose a life. So I just sort of skipped over certain enemies. Although the enemies that were on the platforms, they were kind of hard to skip because they were always shooting stuff at you. You know? So that was a pain. And then when you get to the boss, and it's whatever life you have left. You know what I mean? So that was unfair. They should have replenished your health to at least give you a fighting chance against the boss. But they don't do that, and then you die, and you have to go all the way back to the beginning of the level. So overall, I thought this was a very frustrating game. I like the level design of the game, and I like the character. The robot looks cool and everything, but it's just ridiculously hard. Not in a good way either. Alright, we're getting close to the end. I got a bunch of games in here. These are duplicates, all except for one that's in there. But before I go ahead and show you that, I'll show you this pickup. The last games that I picked up for the Super Nintendo collection here, and I'm not going to pick up any more. I picked up Batman Forever, Yoshi's Safari, Gradius 3, or Gradius 3, however you pronounce it. I also picked up Super Mario RPG. Oh, what a good game this is. DK always wanted $110 for this, not brand new, but good cartridge. Was not going to pay that. Even the cosmetically flawed one, they wanted $75 for, $74 for. That's just insane. I got it off of eBay for $60, and that's with the shipping included. So $50 plus the shipping and tax. That's a good deal for this game because it's a really good RPG game. It's one of my favorite games on the Super Nintendo. I definitely recommend it. Mario and this Goomba character. Goomba character kind of helps you out in the game. Later on in the game, if you get really far, I think another character also joins you and help you on your quest in the game. It's very good. It's a very fun game. It's a very long game. It'll take you probably like 5 days to beat this game, or maybe a week. You know, but you got to be really good. And I heard that the last boss in the game was really challenging. Like, really difficult to beat. In fact, Booger Boy Meister, years ago, he did a playthrough of this game. I remember him playing this game. And he got all the way to the very last boss in this game. And he rage quit because the boss was just too damn hard to beat. You know what I mean? Like, ridiculously hard. Just impossible to beat, you know? But I never made it that far, you know? But I will at least give it a go again and see if I can get to that last boss. Because I've seen the gameplay of this on YouTube. There's many YouTubers that have done gameplay of this all the way through. Very few have beaten this game, though, because of its extreme difficulty at the end, you know. But it is a great game, and I definitely recommend it if you have a Super Nintendo. Alright, now we get to the box. I separated these from this because most of them in here are duplicates. There's only one game that's not a duplicate. I'm going to sell these too. I have them listed on my eBay page to sell because they're not ones that I need. Although I might keep one copy of Mario Paint here since I got like 3 copies of it. So see, I have Mario Paint. Mario Paint. I don't have the mouse pad or the actual piece of plastic that you use on it with the mouse pad. I don't have that, unfortunately, and it's really expensive to get. It's like $60 for that thing, you know, on eBay. I'm not gonna pay that. Getting kind of hot in here, actually. We're starting to get warm weather because we're halfway through April, you know. Super Mario World. Talked about it before. Super Mario World. I think I have 3 copies of that. Timon and Pumbaa. Got 2 copies of that. Here's the other copy of F-Zero. Oh yeah, here's the one game that's not a duplicate. I'm going to sell it with the lot. So that way I get a seller that's happy with the games and the amount of games. So that's why I'm including this one. It's Battle Cars. This is actually a pretty good racing game. And it's like a car combat game, you know. It plays very similar to like Mario Kart, but not as good as Mario Kart, if that makes sense. But it is a pretty good game overall, and I definitely do recommend you check it out. It's really cheap. It's $10 or might be 15 on eBay, but no more than 15. Not bad. Killer Instinct. I got 2 copies of that. Oh yeah, see, I do have 3 copies. Super Mario World. This one's a little beat up though. The cover is cosmetically flawed. This one. But the other 2 are in pretty good shape. The Jungle Book. Super WrestleMania, cosmetically flawed cart. Super Play Action Football. Got 2 copies of that. Caesar's Palace. Got 2 copies of that. George Foreman's KO Boxing, I got 2 copies of that. And the last one I have is The Lion King, and I have 2 copies of that. So that's my Super Nintendo collection in full, guys. I thank you guys for checking this video out. I hope you enjoyed this Super Nintendo video. This is definitely over an hour video, but it's definitely worth your time. Hopefully you got some enjoyment out of it, and you like the titles that I have. I know I don't have Super Metroid. I know I don't have Super Castlevania 4. I don't have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. I do actually own that game, but on the PS5 Cowabunga Collection game that my brother got me for, I think that was for my last birthday that I had when I was 31, you know, that birthday. And it might have been when I turned 32, because I'm 32 years old now. But that game, I can play it, but excuse me, I don't own it on the Super Nintendo. I own it for the PS5, if that makes sense. And I know that this also is Super Metroid and Final Fantasy 2 and Final Fantasy 3 and Donkey Kong Country 2 and Donkey Kong Country 3, Kirby Superstar Ultra or Kirby Superstar, whatever it's called, and that other Kirby game, Dream Course 3 or something, or Dream Course. That I don't own. I don't own any of those titles, unfortunately. I don't own Lufia or Lufia 2 or Secret of Mana or Secret of Evermore either, unfortunately. And I don't own Chrono Trigger or Earthbound. I know a lot of people are going to say, why don't I have these titles? So I'll just mention that for the hell of it. Just so that you know, I don't own them. And they're too much money to get. So I was picking up games that were on my budget that I could afford. So hopefully you can understand that and respect it. Anyways, please don't forget to subscribe. I would like to get into the 300s or 400s. We are almost there. We got 4 subscribers away from 300. Hopefully we'll be at 300, and hope y'all stay subscribed because I bring you some of the greatest gaming content that you will ever watch. God bless you all, and thank you for watching, and take care. And like I said, do not forget to subscribe. It definitely helps me out greatly. Larry the Batman fan signing off. Sorry, I can't talk. Jeez. All right, take care. Peace.